Alright, so on to the next part. This is what you guys should have so far. Now we're going to move on to the legs. So we got the body right here, and this is how I'm going to do the start of the legs. So Lucario kind of has that, like, those really huge thighs, I guess, that blue part before we actually get to his legs. So this is all I'm going to do. I'm going to take some clay and roll it in the center, like just the middle. Like this. And then all I'm going to do is push it together and then flatten the top. Like this. And now I'm kind of, of course, going to kind of make it a little smoother and stuff, But essentially that like creates, this part of him. And the part is really huge, so it should be pretty big. Like that, and I mean, we can just do this for scale. I would say that's like pretty good. That's like almost perfect scale. That probably is perfect, I would say. Yeah, that... Wow, I'm really impressed with that. Alright, cool. First try. So, that's what I would do for that. Exactly like that. And like, look how quick we made it. And then, like I said, you can just kind of go back over, make sure you get rid of all the lines and stuff. So, like that. Now for the legs, I'll show one on camera. You guys can do the other off camera, and I'll probably show the tail in this part as well. And then we'll probably assemble him. And then next part I'll probably have a conclusion. So yeah, really easy tutorial. I definitely recommend this one if you guys are struggling with some of the other characters or you're a beginner. This is a really easy tutorial, so this was a great request. Okay, so the legs, let's take a look at the legs. So they're pretty much the same exact thing as the hands, except it's just all one color. So what I'm going to do is... Now I think these are actually I think these are a little more like Mewtwo's. And what I mean by that is they're kind of done in two parts. So first let me do the actual like foot part. Okay. So I would say it's like this, kind of like that, like this. But we're not gonna do like exactly like this. We're kind of gonna more tilt it to the side and add another part to it. So let me just do this first. Kind of do this, and then we got to do the same thing that we did for the hands with this toothpick. I find the toothpick the best way. And like I was doing before, you kind of just roll it all the way around. And then after you kind of start an indent, you can just kind of take it and drag it down. And then you just kind of pinch it together, and there you go. So that's what I would do for that. So now it's looking like this. And what we got to do is add another part, kind of right up here. So you guys will see what this does in a second. So we're going to sculpt it on like this, and then when we attach it, we're going to attach it at this point, I guess kind of underneath the leg. So it's like this, which is how it should look, and it has this little area, this little part in the back. Let me kind of do that a little more. Yeah. So it's like this. And then I'm just going to press it down just to make sure it's going to fit. And this actually helps as a great support as well for the leg, which we're probably going to have to make a stand, but it does work well as a support. So I'm just going to make sure this is still in scale, because we can always do that. Yeah, this is looking good. Okay, so I'm going to sculpt the other leg and then meet you guys back here. Okay, so we're back. Next we have to move on to his tail. So Lucario's tail is long like that, pointed at one end, and then curve it over at the tip. Kind of like that. I'm just going to pull some clay off because I thought it was a little too thick. So like this. Now all we have to do is connect it right here. So now another kind of note is that if you were sculpting this large, in fact I can kind of show you right here, but the scale is really important when sculpting a clay figure, because notice for some of the tutorials, and most notably this one, I haven't really used a whole lot of toothpicks, you know, to secure things. I could probably get away with not using a toothpick here, but I'll show it just for demonstrational purposes, that the smaller you sculpt, the harder it's going to be to put toothpicks in to secure your clay model. Like, in a sense, the smaller you sculpt, the easier it'll be to connect pieces, because you can kind of, you know, you can kind of have the pieces hold each other a little better. So for example, like when I put this on right here and stuff, you know, I can put this arm right here, and then I can kind of make him hold, you know, hold like right here or something. And I don't really need a toothpick for that. But the larger you sculpt, because there's more weight on the clay, you're going to have to use toothpicks to secure, you know, each part in a little bit easier. And because I'm sculpting so small, I really don't need that extra support, so that's why I haven't really been using a whole lot of toothpicks. But depending on how large you sculpted, you're either going to need toothpicks or not. So as you can see, all I did is I just put a toothpick in, I added a little bit more clay just so it was a little more secure, and then I'm just going to stick it, you know, pretty much where it should be. And essentially the toothpick should hold it in place, and in this case it's kind of holding the tail outward like this. So that's really all the toothpicks do. And like I said, I should probably make a separate video just showcasing toothpicks and, you know, all the different things you can do with them. But I've been showing them in my clay tutorials and stuff, and that's one of the main reasons why I like using them, is because they're just, you know, really easy to find, like, you know, anywhere, and they really help secure your clay figures into place. And I've been using them ever since I started, and I still use them today. So alright, so that's the tail, and now I guess we are gonna secure this guy into place. So like I said, toothpicks kind of optional. It is, like, for me, in sculpting in this small of a scale, it is probably better than nothing, but you do risk, the smaller the clay model, you know, potentially smudging the smaller details. But I guess I will put a couple in just cuz. So I'm going to put one in down here, and then connect this to that. So I guess we're at the assembly portion right now. Alright, try and center that as best as I can. Do I have any more toothpicks around here? I only have this little tiny small piece, but I guess it's better than nothing. Put that in Lucario's head. And then try and put that on like this. Now you guys can kind of get fancy with the poses, do whatever you want. Trying to think about how I want my Lucario to look. Like, I always thought Lucario was like really cool. Like, I mean, especially in terms of like Smash Bros. Because like in the actual Pokemon game, there are so many other Pokemon I would prefer over Lucario. But in Smash Bros, I feel like he's really cool. All right, now I'm going to just adjust everything, make sure it's all onto the model. Okay, so this is looking pretty good like that. Now, we are going to do a stand. I don't think he could probably stand on his own, so we're going to do the type of stand that's like this. So I'm going to take some blue clay. Flatten it out as even as I can get it. Like this, and should make sure that he can, yeah, okay, he'll be able to stand on that. So what I'm going to do is cook him laying down, and then when he comes out of the oven, we'll just super glue him onto the stand, and it'll work. So let me put him into the oven, and I think the best way for me to do this, because the tail's kind of right in the way, alright, I'll do like that, kind of push the tail over to the side. Like that, and then when he comes out of the oven, we will take a look at our finished product. Okay guys, so let's finish this tutorial. So we got the stand, and we got Lucario, and now we're going to use Loctite super glue to glue him on the stand. And just as a kind of, not really a precaution, but just something to keep in mind, I guess. I feel like this, because like, okay, I don't know if this is just me, but when my clay comes out of the oven, I'm really eager to like, glue it together and, like get it really, in place and stuff. And I find that for the best results, you want to wait before you glue your clay together until the clay is like absolutely cool, because if it's not, then the glue can have a hard time sticking. So you just want to keep that in mind, is that you should probably wait until the clay is as cool as it can be before you glue it on. I'm trying to figure out how I positioned this originally. I think it was like this. And then when you do, you're all set, and you got a Lucario clay figure. So let's take a look at this guy. I really like this tutorial. Going into it, I'm like, oh, Lucario, like that's going to be so hard to do. But as we kind of went through, I realized that he's not as hard a character as I thought he was. So this was a great request. I definitely recommend this if you're a beginner, or just if you like Lucario, then yeah, why not go for it? So yeah, I like this tutorial. I like the end result. It came out pretty nice. So that is that. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm LSuperSonicQ, and I will have more tutorials up in the near future. However, next week I'm not going to do a tutorial, and debatably the week after, because I think I'm probably out of clay colors of characters I can make right now, so I would have to go to the store and buy some more. But I'll see what I can do about that. So thanks for watching again, and until next time, I'm LSuperSonicQ, Finn.